Crows are now my friend, and you're gonna learn why in this predator prevention video. So if you saw my last one, you saw that on New Year's Day, one of my hens was attacked by a hawk, and she survived. Well, the very next day, the hawk came back and somehow got in again, even though I had my run covered and had inspected it immediately after the hawk attack the day before. Now, before I get into any more details, I just want to say real quick, I'm sorry for my voice. I'm getting over some kind of virus and my throat hurts and I'm still congested and I sound a little rough, and I'm sorry for the annoying voice. I can't help it, but I needed to film because I promised this video would be out on time and I don't want to delay it. So this video is going to be about predator prevention. Now, I do want to start off by finishing what I just started telling you. The hawk came back, and unfortunately, there was not a happy ending for this one. If you don't want to hear about the sad part, skip ahead to this time on the screen so we can get straight to the predator prevention parts. There's Lark, she is the survivor. But, you know, I figured since many of you have followed this channel for a while, and a lot of you know these chickens and watch these videos of them, if you want to hear what happened and get an update on which one we lost, I'll give it to you real quick. I'm going to keep it brief. What happened was tragic and it was graphic. I am not going to go into graphic details here because, one, I don't want to talk about that, and two, I don't really want that on my channel. But if you've been following my videos, that little baby that just ran back there, that's Cobbler. You saw in the summer that I got 2 baby salmon Faverol chicks and gave to my silky hen to raise. She was broody at the time. And those chicks were Cobbler, who you just saw back there, and Chamomile. Unfortunately, the hawk got Chamomile, her sister, and I had checked on them so many times that day, and the one time I couldn't check on them, it somehow got in. I came out to check on them again, and I knew right away something was off. Half of the hens were standing in this corner, completely still, completely frozen. The other half were standing in that corner. And none of them ran up to greet me like they always do. Like, as you can see, when I come out, they all surround me and greet me and chatter and, you know, enjoy themselves, beg for treats. They weren't doing that. They were all very still. So, like, immediately my heart sank. I was like, this is not normal. And then Scone, my little half silky, half naked neck hen, kept doing an alarm call. So something was up. I had a feeling what it was because of what happened the day before. Hello, Fennel. She wants a close-up. So I ran to the door and came in, and that's when I saw a hawk under the coop, and it had attacked and killed Chamomile, Cobbler's sister. Looked very similar to Cobbler, just a little bit more pale, a little lighter in color. So I ran in, scared the hawk off of her. The hawk flew over there. Was trapped in here. It got in somehow but couldn't find its way out, so I had to get it out of here. And then once I got it out, I went over to assess the damage, and like, I knew that my chicken was dead, but there's that small part of you that doesn't want to believe it. I guess, you know, they say denial is part of grieving. So when I went over to look, like, there was that small part of me that was like, maybe she's just injured, but she wasn't. She was gone. So I pulled her out, and like I said, I won't go into the graphic details, but it was really hard to see. And I normally don't cry very easily, and some people might just think that chickens are livestock, but to me they're pets. They all have their personalities. They are a lot more intelligent than people give them credit for. I mean, think about it. They're birds. Birds are known to be smart creatures. So, you know, I have a connection with all of them. They're not just livestock to me. So I was sitting here crying like a baby, and then Cornflower was the first one to come out from hiding. And this is Cornflower, by the way, so that was good, right on cue. She came over and sat down right next to me right here and was just like making all these soft little sounds, just sitting next to me, just looking at Chamomile for a few minutes. And then I finally bagged up the dead chicken, and Cornflower then went over to the other hens that were hiding in the corner and started making these soft little noises to them. So she was obviously communicating to them about something, probably saying that the danger was gone and probably letting them know what happened to Chamomile, because she came out like full on and inspected her and then like just sat down beside me and just looked at her. And there have been studies that show that chickens are smart. They've even been known to have best friends, which I know is true. One of the hardest things about this whole process was Chamomile was very close with her sister, of course, and the Silkies, because even though only one Silky hen raised her, There's her mother, actually, her adopted mother, Honeysuckle. All of my Silkies were obsessed with her because my Silkies always go broody. They just love babies. So they were kind of like her nannies, her babysitters. So just seeing like the Silkies and Cobbler looking for her and being sad, that was hard. And for the first few days afterwards, every time I would walk in, Chamomile would come sprinting up to me and just look up. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, which is very possible. But she never normally did that, so I kind of thought maybe she was wondering if I was bringing her sister back. Because when Lark here got attacked by the hawk, I brought her right back in afterwards and they all saw that she was fine. But unfortunately, in this instance, that was not going to be the case. So I do not free range my hens. No matter how long you keep chickens, they're bound to get picked off by something at some point, especially if you free range them. There are so many animals that would like to make a meal out of them. There's foxes, coyotes, the neighbor's dog, depending where you live, eagles, hawks, various birds of prey, possums, raccoons, you name it. Even some species of owls are large enough to pick off your hen. Now, luckily, owls mostly hunt at night, so if your chickens go into their coop at night and you lock them in, they should be fine. But sometimes early in the evening or very early in the morning, the owls are still out. So that's something to be vigilant for. But like I was saying, I've always kept my hens in a covered run. I use deer netting, and after the hawk attack, I put double layers of netting on. And I had to put my hand back here so it would focus, but you can see I brought it down. I used to have it end right like towards the top of my fence, but I brought it down lower now because I was wondering if maybe the hawk, because like I was saying, birds are intelligent, maybe it peeled this part up and like slid in. So I brought the netting down even farther and zip tied it in so many places so there's no gaps it could fit through. And of course I have them fully fenced in. These are dog kennel panels that I use. Now what you could use instead of deer netting on top, and this is actually something I plan on using in the future, I'm hoping to move in the somewhat near future and get an even better setup. So once I do their permanent setup, it's going to be even better than this, but you could do wire, or instead of poultry wire, hardware cloth is even stronger. You could put that on top of your whole run instead of deer netting, which is what I plan on doing at some point. And then here's an obvious one, and I'm sorry it's so muddy, it's wintertime, I can't really break out the pressure washer and clean the outside of the coop, but make sure that your hens have access to shelter. You can see my coop has a solid floor, so nothing can dig under and get them. At night, I fully enclose them in here, so there's no way nothing can get in. But during the day, it's healthy for them to be out and about in their fenced-in area. I had hens for 5 years before a predator got in, and like I was saying earlier, it's bound to happen at some point if you keep poultry or livestock, but I still was in shock because, like I said, it had been 5 years and nothing had ever gotten in before until it did. So you can never be too safe. Well, remember the beginning of the video when I said that crows are our friends now? Well, I did some research and it turns out hawks don't like crows. Crows will often fight hawks and try to chase them away. So I went onto Amazon and I bought some realistic looking fake crows and put them on top of my enclosure. I also have one on the back side of it as well. I also put reflective tape around the whole entire perimeter of it. So the birds are supposed to not like how this is reflective, so I think we should just put some strips on top of the netting. The light reflecting off of it is supposed to deter birds from wanting to land and perch on it, which will hopefully deter hawks and other birds of prey from trying to come in here, and also keep the wild birds away because 1, I don't want them getting caught in the netting, and 2, with bird flu going around, I don't really want wild birds around my flock. Next, we have Brutus.
I hope the neighbors aren't too concerned.
But you gotta do what you gotta do. This is an inflatable mannequin doll that I got on Amazon. You can go onto Amazon and type in realistic dolls and see what comes up. This is the one I chose because it was affordable. It was life-size to a real actual person. And it was something that I was able to inflate and dress up so it looked more real. You could also probably purchase an actual mannequin if you wanted something a little bit sturdier, but keep in mind that will cost a lot more money. Brutus here was, I believe, around like $11, give or take. But scarecrows, I don't know. I feel like the birds always figure those out so fast. But Brutus here looks pretty realistic. It even startled me the other day when I came out of the house, and I'm the one that put it here. And I figured it won't upset or scare the chickens because they're used to humans and they like humans. Because at first I thought, like, you know, should I buy like some kind of like dog statue or something to scare off predators? But I figured that might stress out the hens. But humans do not stress them out. They love people. So Brutus here has been doing the trick. No predators have gotten near the place since I put Brutus and the crows up. The neighbors might think it's a bit odd, but in my opinion, you got to do what you got to do to keep your flock safe. And I don't care if people are judging. I don't want to lose any more birds. Brutus here is my friend. I'm shaking his hand as the neighbor's driving up. Oh well. But he's doing a good job. I just have some cheap garden twine holding him to the fence. And I figured every few days, maybe I'll move him to a different spot in the enclosure so the birds think that it's real and, you know, moving on its own and don't figure him out. So we got the crows, we got Brutus, we got the netting or the wire on top, we got the fence. What else can you do? Because aerial predators aren't the only problem. Like I said earlier, there's also foxes and coyotes, even the neighbor's dog that could come into your yard. Well, even if you have a fence, if a predator is determined enough, they might try to dig under. So that's when you're going to have to put some barriers down on the outside as well. Here is just an old telephone pole. And then you can also get wire or, you know, hardware cloth, something nice and durable. And you can dig under and put the wire down under the ground and fill it back in. So that way if a predator starts digging to get under, they keep meeting more wire and they'll eventually give up because they'll see they can't actually get in. Or if digging down and installing the wire is too much trouble for you, you could get hardware cloth and attach it flat to the bottom. Sorry, there's snow here, so I can't give you a great representation. But you can attach it flat to the bottom and then roll it out a few feet away from your enclosure so that way they can't really dig anywhere because the whole thing is wire, and you can have grass grow over it so you don't have to see it. It'll still look nice, but if something goes to dig, they will meet wire and won't get very far. Look, the hens love Brutus. You can also install motion detecting lights around the area so that way if a predator comes around at night, the light will flash on and hopefully scare it off because it'll think a person's near. You can also carry around an air horn, so if you see an animal, you can make a loud noise and try to scare it off with that. You can even put security cameras around your coop so you can check in throughout the day and keep an eye on your flock when you're at work. Now, some animals are protected by law, and sometimes it also depends on what state you're in, but not everything is, especially when it comes to protecting your livestock. So I don't know all the rules in every state, so I can't give you flat out advice there. You're gonna have to check with your own area's laws. But certain predators, you do have the right to dispose of if it's harming your livestock or your pets. So that's another thing to look into if it's a huge problem. Know your rights and what you're allowed to do about a certain situation and about certain predators. Now, the methods I mentioned aren't the only things you can do. You can also recruit other animals to help protect your flock. The first and most obvious choice could be a rooster. Roosters are known to give their lives for their hens and their chicks. However, that's not going to work in every case because roosters can also pose issues as well. They can be very loud, so they're not allowed in all places, such as many neighborhoods. For example, I live in a neighborhood. We are not allowed to have roosters here, so that's not an option for me. Another bad thing about roosters is they can be very loud and very aggressive. So again, that might not work for everyone. That might not be very appealing. But if you're someone that free ranges your hens, it's not a bad idea to put a rooster or two with them, depending on the size of the flock. You can also keep geese with them, but I would recommend raising the goose or gosling with them from a very young age so that it sees them as part of its flock, because they're very territorial. So if you just throw an adult goose in here with them, there could be some issues, but if you raise it from the time it's young with the chickens, it'll see them as its own family. But keep in mind, geese will have some different nutritional requirements and some different care requirements from chickens, so that's another thing to look into. Their care will differ in some ways, so if you're going to have a mixed flock, you're going to have to learn how to properly accommodate that. So I would recommend doing a lot of research into that and talking to people that have successfully done it themselves to learn more about that if it's something that you wish to pursue. Other people say that having black chickens can help cut down on the predators picking them off because, like I said earlier, hawks don't really like getting in fights with the crows, so they might think the black chickens are crows. And the darker breeds do tend to blend in better, which is why it's not surprising that Lark here was the very first chicken that got picked on. Luckily, I heard her screams in time and I was able to come out and save her. If you want to hear the full story on that, the link to that video is in the description below. And then my little baby salmon Faverol, which is a light color, was another easy target the next day. Black Australorps, Iamsomanes, and French black copper Morans are just a few of the dark breed chickens that come to mind. But there are many, many different dark breeds out there if that's something that you want to try. But even then, they still won't be 100% predator proof. You can also get a livestock guardian dog. Some breeds, like the Great Pyrenees, are more suited for this than others. However, I will say, if that's something you're going to try, please seek the help of a professional before doing this, because it's not like it's just going to automatically know to protect your chickens. Dogs are technically predators, and especially puppies like to play, like to chew, like to bite. Dogs have a prey drive, it's natural. So you're going to have to train it from a young age that it is not allowed to attack your chickens. And if you want to try not to lose any birds in the training process, I really recommend you hire a trainer or get someone to help you that has experience in doing this. I have never tried using a livestock guardian dog, so I don't want to give further instructions from here because it's not something I've done myself. But I know for some people it has worked, so if you want to look into that, please seek the help of a professional or someone with a lot of experience in that field. The sad thing is, I've always had a lot of these predator prevention things in place ever since I got the chickens. And then I got the extra stuff like Brutus and the reflective tape and the crows right after the first day that the hawk came and got Lark. But the hawk came back and got my other one before I could put all these new predator preventions up. But I am pleased to say, knock on wood, we have not had an issue since. I also have these little solar-powered LED lights from Amazon hanging across the entire perimeter, just about, of my enclosure. I don't know how much they really help, but I feel like the lights on it at night may help deter predators. If they see the lights from the yard, they might not want to come near because they might suspect that people are out and about. Another tip can be to make sure you clean up any uneaten feed, treats, and to put their food away enclosed in their coop at night so you don't attract any raccoons or possums. And I probably don't need to say this because if you keep chickens, you know how it is, but I apologize for the mess. We got snow, it was really cold, and then it warmed up for a couple days and it's all turning to mud. But the polar vortex is coming back through and we're going to get more snow tomorrow. So soon, all the mud will be frozen and covered in snow again. That's the part about this time of year that's not very fun when you're keeping chickens. It's hard to keep things looking nice. So those are just some basic, affordable, and easy to put into place predator prevention methods that have worked well for me. And like I said, I know I had a hawk get in here, but I guess after 5 years of keeping chickens, that's a pretty good stretch to go without having any issues from predators. And now that I've added some more things into place, I'm hoping that we can go even longer and hopefully never have another issue again. So I'll keep you guys updated on how things go. It's a tragedy that we lost Chamomile. I'm still upset about it. I'm angry, I'm sad, but I also accept that there's nothing I can do to change it. It's already happened, so all I can do is learn from it and try to help teach you guys and hopefully prevent this from happening to someone else. You can never be too careful. I thought that this enclosure was predator proof and it took one hawk to prove me wrong. So if there's a light at the end of the tunnel for any of this tragedy that happened here, it's that I hope that my hens are now safer because I learned from this, and I hope that I can help you keep yours safer as well. Just like all of you, I'm learning as I'm going, and I will continue to update you as I learn more throughout my chicken keeping journey. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new information that I learn and want to share with you. And that's the Silky Mom right there, still taking care of them even though they're bigger than her.